Hello again. It is Crew Call here on the Motor Racing Network, taking you into the garage area and talking to the folks to make these cars go around the racetrack. We are so glad that you have joined us right now. Like and share this so we can spread the word. You can spread the word if you like what we're doing here on Crew Call. I'm Steve Post, pit road reporter for Motor Racing Network, joined by 25-time winning crew chief, championship winning crew chief, Todd Gordon. Hello, Todd. How are you?
I'm great. Had a great event at Gateway this weekend. We're headed out to Sonoma, a place that's going to be fabulous.
It's going to be awesome. It really, truly is. The only way you'd be better is if your name might be Randall Burnett. Man, they've got that thing clicking pretty good. Boy, they were impressive from qualifying to checkered flag. That was a pretty strong performance.
Yeah, it was. But I don't think, it wasn't so dominant that we knew it was going to be that.
Right, correct.
I thought it was a great race. We had racing going on everywhere throughout the field. One of the really cool parts, a flat racetrack, different ends, different bankings, different radiuses, long straightaways.
Yep.
Big challenges, but great racing. We saw comers and goers.
Right. We also saw 4 tires, which created comers and goers as well.
And the last 2 tire calls were left sides, which that to me is a crew chief.
Yep.
But I think guys had the opportunity to put rights on earlier. May have seen that their left side wears were a little higher, and they felt like that was the better choice for him. Kyle Larson did a really good job at hanging on with 2 lefts there for multiple restarts. Hung in the top 2 for most of it, and ended up with a solid run. Yeah, for what they started, holy cow, they were within sight of the leader of getting lapped down at the end of the stage. Yes. So they really recovered well, that's for sure. We had heard Alex Hayden had shared with Kim and I were on pit road. Alex had shared a conversation with Paul Wolf, and Paul queued us up. Be ready, keep an eye for some left side tire changes. It might just happen situationally. And sure enough, we did see that. And then Paul didn't.
And Paul didn't have all the, exactly. So fun stuff. You're Randall Burnett, crew chief for Kyle Busch. You have this rock star, superstar driver that is a big personality, and emotionally everything from the biggest cheerleader to the biggest critic, and it can change within 30 seconds. And we all know that with Kyle and that sort of thing. You get an opportunity to crew chief for this guy, and you're sitting here 15 races in with 3 wins, matching your total last year with Tyler Reddick, who was a much different dynamic as far as that goes. I think Randall Burnett's got to be sitting here king of the world, and it was a home track win as well for Randall. He's from Fenton, Missouri. That had to be big as well. He seems to have done a really nice job with this transition. Yeah. I think the chemistry between the two of them has come a long way. I felt like at the beginning of the year that this was an opportunity, for them to win races, but I didn't know that it would happen the first half of the season. I really felt like they'd need to get through some races, kind of create the understanding of what Kyle wants out of a race car, how Kyle communicates about what he wants on a race car, and to have 3 wins in the first 15 races. And somebody said, he won Talladega because others wrecked, but he led the Daytona 500 at 500. So let's just make sure we're honest about this whole thing. And they would take that first one over the second one. So they've had their ups and downs. Sure. Not every race has been great, and that's part of the learning process of learning the chemistry and the communication piece. But definitely, I would not have picked them to have 3 wins so far this season. I thought they may have 3 wins this season. I didn't think it'd be in the first 15. Yeah. They're doing really well, and they're setting themselves up for a great playoff run. Really, truly are. Their short track program is what they're worried about, and we'll see what happens. We've got a couple of those coming up. I think the other thing, and this is where one of the other parts of my life comes in, I'm the track announcer on Tuesday night at Millbridge Speedway. Both of their sons race out at Millbridge. And when the season started, they'd roll in, and you'd see them somewhere in this spring. Both cars are in the same transporter. They're working side by side. You'll see Randall talking to Brexton Busch. You'll see Kyle talking to Tatum Burnett. And again, it's that find that chemistry where you can spend more time together. I don't think it's hurt them at all. Yeah, those relationships and having that friendship between those two, it helps them through the tough time. And it makes it even more special in the good time. Yes, no doubt about it. Jonathan Hassler, your old buddy Jonathan Hassler. I don't know. What I love about Joey Logano is that he is a fierce competitor. What I saw in Joey Logano was a relieved race car driver that they got a 3rd place finish because it had been since Martinsville, since they've had a top 5 run. Boy, they grounded out. They really worked hard.
And Hassler and Joey, they had a pretty solid day. Figured out how to get a good finish out of there.
So 2 different cars there. You got the 12 and the 22, but they both performed on that race. And Blaney, I thought, was one of the best cars there. I thought he was one of the 3 or 4 with Hassler leading the charge. A great kind of comeback behind the dominating at the Coke 600. And to your point, Paul Wolf talked about 2 tires being a play. They got themselves some track position. They worked there in the back half of the top 10. But, come money time and multiple restarts, Joey goes and hammers it out. They did a really good job. And I think a piece to build forward into would be fun to see what they can do this upcoming week at Sonoma.
Yeah, that's what I had Joey's post-race interview, and that's what I got out of it was like, finally, we got something to build on, something to work on. Brake rotors, a big topic out there. When we have an item like this, what's going on? What do we know? What do we know? What do we not know at this point?
Yeah, the Gateway is probably the toughest place on brake rotors that there is. The really big braking event into turn 1. Yeah. Pretty big one into turn 3, but big on both ends, but long straightaways. This is, I would say, this is kind of a flatter Darlington, so there's more banking or more braking to it. Has some Phoenix characteristics, but those long straightaways and how you cool them, how you use them, I think I saw upwards of 800 psi of brake pressure. That's like road course brake pressure into turn 1, and it's had a lot of cooling on it straightaway. So there's these thermal cycles within it. Right. The other part is with the crew chiefs, that's the one place we can still tape the car up and make aerodynamic gains, is how limited you are on the cooling that goes to the brakes. I've had a couple failures. I can speak to that. I failed a rotor at Nashville with Ryan Blaney, I think in 2020. I was mad at myself because I brought a lighter brake package than I knew I needed to run. In retrospect, I made the wrong choice. I had a problem with Joey at Kentucky back, I think it was 17. But usually it's, there are places where your car gets off and you start to use more brake because it's not handling well. And we as crew chiefs are always trying to maximize. So we're taping that up to the car being in the box that we expect it to be. It needs this much cooling. We'll work through that. But then when you get in a situation where the car's a little ill, it's loose in, so I'm really on the brakes, where then we're using more and we're not having enough cooling for it. When I've had failures, the rotors themselves will grow from the temperature. They actually grow in diameter. And they'll grow, if they grow to the point where they get into the inside annulus of the caliper. Once it touches there and starts that it's a runaway train at that point. And I think from some of the pieces I saw, it looked like the outside of the rotors, the pieces that broke had been polished. So I can't speak for what happened, but I know this is the toughest place for it. Tougher than any road course we go to because we have multiple braking events. Yeah. So you don't have that long dwell between the big braking events.
So it's the up and down of the temperature.
That up and down and overall temperature in those ranges. And if it gets to the point that we actually, the caliper will be mounted higher, like 100 thousandths off of the rotor. So the rotor's got some room to grow. But if it ends up where the rotor gets to the caliper, it's pretty much a runaway day.
Then you're done, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's just a tough place. And we saw Kevin Harvick have a failure with 4 laps to go last year at Gateway. And I talked to the AP guys. They were concerned about that, trying to understand it, trying to make sure they could educate people. But it's a tough box to be in. And the guys could run, there's 2 different brake packages. They could run the intermediate package or the short track package. And that's a crew chief decision. So it's a challenge, especially in today's environment, where we're limited on how much we get to do.
Yeah. We're going to talk to Travis Mack. We're going to ask him about that as well, because I want to get his take on it as well as a guy that managed it well this weekend. So he's going to be our guest here. Travis Mack going to join us from Trackhouse Racing. 2 quick ones here. Truck Series, Grant Enfinger, Jeff Hensley. I'm telling you, Jeff Hensley is... Man, if I'm starting a truck team, he's on a short list of people I'm going to get to lead the team. They have really got that truck for granted. If they're going second win in the last 5 races, they are really, really solid. They put together a great effort. It's always good to see. And Jeff's just salt of the earth people. Yep. Really, truly is.
Yeah, definitely. And having a good impact across the board there, with all of them. I think a great mix there with Grant and then with Raja. And
Daniel Dye.
Exactly. Yeah, so I want to call him DD, and I'm like,
the kids up there, he does a good job. Jeff is a really, really good guy. And at Portland, it was Cole Custer and Jonathan Tony his career first crew chief win. So how about that for Cole Custer? Good to see our MRN colleague at time, Cole Custer.
Yeah.
He's one of our analysts that gets in the booth with us every once in a while. So let's do this. Let's step away a little bit. We just mentioned it. Travis Mack from over at Trackhouse Racing. He joins us next. Welcome back to Crew Call. Todd Gordon and Steve Post hanging out here talking NASCAR racing, and let's go over to Trackhouse Racing, one of our favorite guys to chit-chat with motorsports about. Travis Mack, crew chief on the number 99 Daniel Suarez car, joins us. Hello, Travis. How are you?
Good, guys. How are you doing? Good to be here.
We are doing well, that is for sure. 15 races in, the state of the number 99 car. What's the state of the union over there? How are you feeling about your efforts so far?
It's a lot better than what our points are showing and the results we've been having, but we feel like our cars have been really fast every single week, and we just haven't had the luck the last couple months. We started the year really strong with a bunch of top 10s in a row, and then since then, we haven't had a top 10. We feel like we've had cars capable of running top 5, top 10 every single week right off the truck, but finally we put it all together this weekend in Gateway and came home with a great day.
Yeah, it definitely put you back in the points window. You talked about, having speed. I'm going to jump ahead in my notes here, but I feel like this is from my view, this is 2022 all over again. And I feel like this is about the time of the year that you had some execution issues last year. If you look at the points, you've scored similar amount of points as last year. You're in a better points position, 16th in points, and in the playoffs as we are. Talk about where you are and what you see coming forward.
Yeah, comparing to 2022 stats, we've compared all those stats as well. We've actually had faster cars this year and have finishing worse. Last year, we had a little bit slower cars and we were finishing better. So internally, we feel like our cars are better. We're faster. The team is clicking on all cylinders. Everything's working better this year together. Our qualifying has been a lot better this year. Our average run position has been better. Our speed is there. Our finishes have not been there. We've got caught up in other people's mess. Stuff has happened to us that out of our control. So we try to control the things that we can control. And that's bringing fast race cars to the track and having great pit stops, and road crews doing a great job. Cars are staying together. So we'll try to control the things we can control and keep doing the things that we do. And that's bring fast cars for Daniel to do what he does best.
And you talked about this weekend kind of putting one together and coming out of there with a solid weekend. Talk about Gateway, the challenges there, double shifting both straightaways. Some guys were and brakes and just the challenges at Gateway and the racing it puts on.
Yeah, the track is extremely difficult. Since I've been with Daniel, this is my third year with Daniel, we knew that short tracks was sort of our weakness. And we really took it upon ourselves about a year ago to let's figure the short track program out. Let's give Daniel what he needs to run good at short tracks. And that's not necessarily what Ross Chastain needs. That's not what Kyle Larson needs. We wanted to work with Daniel to figure out what he wants to feel at road courses or at short tracks. And I think we've hit on something this year. Our short track program this year has really stepped up. I think we're averaging at least 10 to 15 better finishing positions at short tracks this year. So I feel like our short track program is at a place now where we could compete for wins and come out with top 5s at every short track we go to.
Without getting into too much detail as far as I go, what types of things does your driver, maybe are there what types of things were a little different than what you've traditionally dealt with or maybe what Ross does?
Over the years, Daniel's been at some really great companies who have really great short track programs. He was at Gibbs. Guys were winning at Gibbs there. He was trying to run their setups, and it necessarily wasn't working for him. He was at Stewart-Haas when Harvick and those guys were dominating short tracks, and the setups weren't really working for him. So, over the last couple of years, we've tried other guys' setups. So we try to show up the same as Ross, and Daniel wants to feel something a little different. I think Daniel could drive a looser race car at short tracks than what people put on that he could do. We worked on his brake package for him. He's extremely good at road courses. So we kind of carried over some of the stuff from road courses to short track program. And then this car has just made it even better for him. So He wants to have secure entry. He wants to be able to turn in the middle and get off the corner. So I think that's everybody's call, but how we get there, it might be a little different than maybe somebody else gets there.
That focusing on the peculiar things that your driver wants. I went through that in 2013 with Joey Logano after he came out of the Gibbs camp, and it really was very successful. Not doing what other people were doing, but doing what we want to do. It's a great recipe, and obviously you're seeing success out of it. When we talk about success, road course stuff is a strength for you. Coming back to Sonoma, place that you won last year, really in strong style. Yeah. It was a great event for you. I felt like many of the road courses were good for you last year, but you got to have a lot of confidence heading to Sonoma this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. We do. Daniel's really pumped up about this weekend. Every road course we feel the same way. We're trying not to put too much emphasis on it. Just don't get ourselves too excited. Don't get too down. Don't get highs and lows. Just stay neutral. We preach a neutral mindset. So I don't want to go into this weekend treating it any different than we did Gateway last week. Just go there with a solid car. And last year after practice Saturday, Daniel called me Saturday night and he was like, I think we're a 5th place car. And I said, Daniel, we're not going to abort what we believe in and what, you're decently happy with the car. Let's don't overhaul the car and end up with the 10th place car. Let's go into the race with the top 5 car and race our race, let other guys take themselves out of it. And that's what we did. And we made the car better, a little bit better overnight. And then throughout the race, we kept making it a little bit better yet. So we'll do that again. Let's go there with the top 5 car and you could win from 5th place. You could go into these races and just like Gateway, we feel like we had a 5th place car going in and, the right circumstance, the right restart, we could have had a chance to win that thing. So just go there, run top 5. 5th to 8th, I always say is the sweet spot. If you're running 5th to 8th every single week, you could have chances and you're going to back into some wins. And we're going to go to Sonoma and do everything we did last year. Hopefully we made the car better in a year, but I'm sure everybody else has done the same.
You talk about going to Sonoma and doing the same things as last year. This is the race strategy, I think, may change up. This is the place that I felt like taking away the cautions at the stage ends, it would have more of an impact on the place. I think I looked at it. Top 7 cars were all on the same 3-stop strategy last year, just before stage 1, just before stage 2, somewhere around lap 80. You guys obviously were the winner of that and did that. How do you think the not having that stage caution will change how this race is? And do you see the 2 versus 3 stop strategies that we used to run back in the early teens coming back into play?
Absolutely. I think the no stages for Sonoma is going to make it way more interesting. It's tricky. You're going for those stage points, a stage win, but you're also making yourself vulnerable with the caution. So those guys short it a little bit, give up their stage points, and you're trying to stay out there and get some stage points, and a caution comes out. You're going to lose all your track position. So very finicky how you call the race. I think we're going to have to go there and be aggressive, and knowing that we have a shot to win this thing. So I feel like we're going to go there and try to come out of there with a win. We might give up some stage points here or there, but who knows? We'll look at it. It's going to be a lot about tire fall off. I think there's going to be a lot of different strategies. You're going to have guys on 2, you're going to have guys on 3, and it's going to make for an exciting race for sure.
You mentioned tire fall off. It used to be back in the day when we had 2 road courses. We had Sonoma and Watkins Glen. We had the short track and the super speedway of road courses. Well, now obviously it's far more convoluted, but this short track, grip, tires, what are the challenges? What are the big challenges you have to create speed around Sonoma?
Yeah, you want to make a lot of grip, but you got to be good on the long run as well. So Daniel's one of the best at saving his tires and knowing when to push and when not to. Last year he kind of kept the 17 to our bumper, the first 20 laps, 10 laps or so after a run. And he was making me nervous, but he said he was just controlling that gap to the guy behind him and making that guy burn up his stuff. And he knew what he was doing. And, he only pushes as hard as he needs to. I think you saw that at North Wilkesboro. He did a great job there, saving the tires. Even on the rain stuff, he got the lead and really controlled his tires, and our tires came off the car and they looked great. And you saw other guys, their tires were burned up and blistered and coming apart. So he's really good. He's always been really good at long run speed cars, and we'll just take that for what it is, and we'll build the setup around him and what he needs to feel.
Yeah, that's really cool, and it's great to see somebody have that savvy to work their way through that, especially at these fall off racetracks where you have a lot of lap time degradation. As you look at where you are right now without a win, what do we have? We have like 11 races left in the regular season. How do you play the balance between chasing a win and chasing points? You talked about maybe giving up stage points because you got an opportunity to win here. How do you handle that the rest of the regular season?
Yeah, it's tricky. The thing that fixes that is fast race cars. And, that Gateway showed that. We score stage points each time. And we never really chased the two-tire stuff just because we were having a decent day. We just want to come out there with a good day. We didn't want to jeopardize anything. Martinsville, we had a great day. We were going to finish top 5, top 8. And, at the end of the race, we tried a two-tire call, and it just didn't work out for us. So, we carried that over to Gateway, and we stuck to the 4-tire strategy, wanted to be on the offense instead of the defense. And, road courses are a tricky one because, you could go there and score a lot of stage points, but you're going to give up your win. So we have a fast race car. We'll be able to do what we want to do, try to go for the win, and we'll still score some stage points, maybe not the stage wins, but we could definitely come out there with a lot of points.
I just got off the phone with one of our radio stations, and I said, there'll be a lot of beating and banging out there, that little racetrack and everything. And then I got thinking, the beating and banging at the racetrack will be nothing like the run to the airport because we are going into an off weekend. Your only off weekend. Just kind of describe the sense around the shop. Get done at Sonoma. What the vibe is, what the hours are, how you work into the off weekend when we get done at Sonoma.
Man, I'm excited for the off week. Wife was asking me last week. She's like asking me how many days I've actually taken off this year, and I couldn't count. On 3 fingers. Like, couldn't tell you the last time I took a day off. It's been busy. It's been enjoyable. We get out of here at a decent time every day, but about having a day off, there's not many days that we get completely off, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm going to take the family and my kids down to Mexico for a week.
Awesome.
So I'm excited about that, taking them down to an all-inclusive resort. And first time we'll be taking them out of the country. So that would be exciting. But there's still a lot going on. I'll definitely be taking my computer with me and answering my emails. NASCAR's come out with a lot of updates with chassis coming, and there's definitely a lot going on. We got the one car going to a Bristol test the Tuesday, Wednesday after the off week. We have a Texas test coming up in a few weeks after that. So busy, but we're going to try to enjoy a few days.
And then I think having that computer with you come back to Nashville, which is kind of a special racetrack for your owner, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be our home turf. We call it our home field. And we want to come back there and have a good showing. It kind of unique racetrack. Kind of in between a short track, intermediate, kind of car, and the brakes are always an issue, concern. Last year we had practice sessions and we had brake issues with both styles of brakes, and we're still, unsure. Just like Gateway, it's very, very touchy on if you get them too hot, too cold. I'm not really sure why right now. We're trying to understand the rotors and the exploding of the rotors, and we know we could get them too hot, but we could also cool them off way too much, and that's when they start to crack and get some vibrations as well. So we've been on both sides of it. Luckily, at Gateway, we hit it. We had it under control. The brakes looked really good after the race, and hopefully we go to Nashville and make the right decisions there, and we'll have brake pedal the whole race, no vibrations, and keep everything together and come home with a good finish.
Yeah, boy, it's fast. When we have something like this, a particular part of the car, and this time it's brake rotors, and we've had other times where it's other elements of it. Is it in this next generation race car may be different as well? How do you attack that is it more simulation? Is it communication, obviously, with the manufacturers, communication with your teammates, your manufacturer mates? How do you attack it in this era?
It's really tough because, used to you would just do testing, you would do more testing. You would have practice sessions to see where your brake temps come in. You could be able to put new rotors on after practice going into the race. You could look at things like that. You could adjust for it. But now you kind of show up with what you got. I can't adjust brake pads. I can't adjust the banding of the rotors to control the heat going through the rotors. Cooling, I could adjust the tape on the nose, but if you get 10 laps during practice, you don't really get the car up to temperature. You're running clean air. You're not in traffic. So it's very touchy. You want to try to get as much downforce as you can, keeping as much tape on the nose as you can, but then again, you don't want your brakes coming apart either. So I believe Richmond, I cooled them too much and we had a vibration, and then we're on the verge of cooling them, getting them too hot some other places. So it's definitely a fine line with this car, and we're still trying to understand that, and we're trying to get better every time.
Final question for you before we get you out of here. And you talked about taking the family out to Mexico. You and I chatted actually at Gateway. You did a personal great video. You and one of your daughters in the car singing. I'm a girl dad. You're a girl dad. How are the girls? What are they into? I think they're 9 or 10, 7 or 8 years old. What are the girls into beyond singing songs in the car on the way to school with Dad?
Yeah, they're 7 and 9 now. They're into everything. They just got out for the summer and dance. They dance a lot. I think my oldest one's dancing about 10 hours a week competition, and the youngest one's right there behind her. And now they're in the swim class, and they have a very busy summer. I think they're on a lot of vacations this summer, going with my parents and the wife's parents, and they're going to the beach several different times with some family. So they have a great summer planned ahead. I'll have a busy summer working, and I'll see them when I can. And I'm excited that they get to do different things with family members. And next week, we'll be looking forward to our time together.
That is awesome. That is awesome. As a girl dad who's gone through that drill every summer, it's nice to see them have fun. And when we get to participate, it's great too. Travis, we wish you the best headed back to Sonoma. And thanks for joining us here on Crew Call.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
There we go. Travis Mack from the number 99 team over at Trackhouse Racing. Stay with us. More Crew Call in just a moment. Welcome back. It is Crew Call here on the Motor Racing Network. Todd Gordon and Steve Post. And always the insight Travis Mack gives us is always so good. He's another one of those guys that can take crew chief knowledge and put it into radio guy English. I always enjoy that about Travis.
Yeah, he's a great guy and doing a great job there. I loved what he talked about how he and Daniel attack short track racing and not trying to do it like everybody else. It's one of those things that I think at times we try to pigeonhole drivers, and you've got to listen to what they need out of the race car. And see that work out this weekend at Gateway. Solid run for those guys. It's interesting to see where the summer swing goes too, because it talks about Daniel being able to take care of tires and manage tires, and how he managed the race last year. It was really interesting. I remember Chris Buescher pressuring him, but he had to get it in the first 15 laps. I thought Chris was better, but Daniel's actually smart enough to back up to him to make him use his stuff up. Like that's another level, and I don't think a lot of people understand that out of some of these racers, but be interesting to see where Daniel goes with this run through the summer. It's got a lot of good racetracks coming up for him.
The dynamic of a team is always fascinating to me, and Todd, you know this. There's really two teams. There's the road crew and the pit crew.
Yes,
and we a lot of times lump those all together. And there are some instances where they're totally separate. I mean, the goal is to get them all working together and everything. Daniel has gone out of his way. The driver road crew relationship is easier to establish because of the time spent together.
Yep.
Back in the day with 3 days of practice and everything, that was your family. Daniel has been, I've talked to him about it, also worked with that road crew family as well, and maybe has among the better relationships. You talk to those crew guys, they know that they've had a lot of other drivers and they know Daniel better than everyone. He's done a nice job managing those relationships that are all integral parts of this thing when it comes to battle time.
You need those guys on board and totally supportive to be successful, and you have to have those good relationships. So great to see that Daniel's able to do that, and those are things that it's not just show up and drive the race car. It's create the culture, create the environment that everybody's there. And if they've got your back, you're going to do great things. And it's going to be fun to watch what this 99 group does coming forward.
All right. Crew chief, you're going to Sonoma. We heard Travis talk about it, all worn out, short track, hang on. The stage break changes. No stage break as far as the cautions goes. What are you putting on? What are you looking at if you're crew chief in a car going out there this weekend?
I'm kind of excited about it because we don't have the stage cautions. We still have the stage points that they're laid out at lap 25 and 55.
Right.
So there's still those 2 points that are in there. But if you look at this race, if I'm running up front, I think I'm a little different than Travis talked about, and he may be by the time he gets it all done. But I think I run past 25. I probably pit at 26 because that's still on the front side. That's still right there about that window of where you want to be. 110 lap race. Mm-hmm. So if you break that up into 4 pieces, then I want to be about 27, 28 laps. So that first stop, I'm going to come after I get the points at 26, 27. Now, if a caution happens right there, I'm buried by it. But I can go to that. If I want to do it in 3, I'm at 27. I'm at 54 or 5, or I probably go 57 so that I'm on the other side of getting the points there. And I split it again. I think there will be guys I think there'll be guys that'll 2-stop this race.
Really?
I do. I mean, back in the day, we'd actually take power away to set ourselves up to be able to make that.
Yeah.
The fuel capacity of this car is a little bit bigger than what our old car was. It's a couple more gallons, which plays into it. This is a pretty easy 2-stop race. It'll be fun to see who does what. And whether that first stop happens, the math I've done, now I'm not in all the know, but I think that 22, 23 is about where you can split the rest of the race from. I think some guys will go to 32 or 3 and try to do it so it's 3 equal segments with the 2 stops, because you'll have to wait on fuel if you go that far into it. They want to eliminate how much they have to wait on the fuel. So it'll be fun to watch what happens. And then cautions can throw all those strategies into
you have the best laid plan, and then somebody does something crazy.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, I would say I'd split it into 3 equals. I'd be at like 35, 35, 30, whatever it is, 36 or 7. But that window from when everybody stops at 22 to 27 to 37, there's a 10-lap window. A caution comes out, you bury yourself. So it's risk and reward, how you want to play it. And the best strategy won't be known until you see how the race plays out.
Right, exactly. Fast car and where you're at in the points pecking order also. You know, with wins, you can change the strategy as far as stage points go. You're on that cusp. 22, you may say, well, I'm going to go to 26 if I'm running up front. Fast car.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
And if you're outside the points, you short them at 22 or 23, you've got 4 laps that you're 2 seconds faster than they are. You'll jump ahead of. I mean, if you've got 3 laps that you jump those guys, that's 6 seconds. You'll move yourself forward in the running order. So there's plenty of opportunities. I love the fact we don't have a break.
Yeah, that's going to be, it really is. It's going to be awesome. This is one where it plays out. I mean, it's going to play out at all the road courses, but this is one maybe more dramatically because of all the options.
Yep.
Good stuff. That is for sure. Our friends at Performance Racing Network have the coverage out at Sonoma all this weekend with the Xfinity Series, NASCAR Xfinity Series, first time ever at Sonoma. Pretty cool stuff.
Yes.
And then the Cup Series as well. Motor Racing Network, we have a lot going on around here. Weekly shows, NASCAR Live, Tuesday night with Mike Bagley. NASCAR Live, Wide Open. Our podcast version drops on Thursday. NASCAR Coast to Coast, Kyle Rickey and Chris Wilner. They talk about the roots, the short tracks of the sport. Wing Nation, myself and Aaron Evernham and Ashley Strumming, we talk about sprint cars. And of course, this is Crew Call here. You can find it all on MRN.com or wherever platform or whatever platforms podcasts are on. And we always ask, please share and like. Please share and like. If you like what we do here, please spread the word. That helps get the numbers and get other people to see this stuff as well. So fun stuff, that's for sure. So Sonoma, off weekend, Nashville. That's a pretty good combination for the teams.
Yes, yeah, definitely is. As you said, the rental car return from Sonoma to the airport to get home for the off week.
There might be some fenders dinged up on that one.
Yeah, there might be 1 or 2, but it's always fun to get out there to Sonoma. It's kind of a cool part of the country.
Love it.
And a great race. And you know, typically you're not racing against weather, but who knows what can happen.
These days, we weren't supposed to be racing against weather at Gateway. And,
We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, it's been fun. The Xfinity Series team, some of them, Jason Trincheri's a Facebook friend of mine, and they actually came down to San Francisco from Portland, and they've been doing sightseeing and everything. It's been cool. Good stuff.
Be a few Cup drivers that try to run that Xfinity race on Saturday.
Yeah, there will. Yes, there will. That's for sure. Yeah. Good stuff. And again, our friends at Performance Racing Network have it. We appreciate Travis Mack from over at Trackhouse Racing joining us. More important, though, than all of that, we thank you for joining us here this week on MRN's Crew Call.